This daf here, Yerushalmi Challah, and the article is edition. We're on daf Yudalid Amud Aleph. We are 5 lines down from the top of the page. The last word of the line, Ezu Chol Borer. In the Vilna, it is 6 lines down in the wide lines, which is also 6 lines on the bottom page on daf Ches Amud Aleph. Ezu Chol Borer. What is going to be Chol Borer? Chol Borer means absolutely cholut, meaning cooked and not baked, which is going to be potter from challah, no matter what happens afterwards. So, anytime the fire is underneath, we spoke about this already. When the fire is underneath, so then it's cooking, not baking. Rabbi Yosef said, even if you cook it with the fire underneath, if you're going to then afterwards make it into a dough, so then, in other words, you're going to bake it afterwards in an oven, still chayib. It's like if you have toasted flour that you made into a dough, which it's not really matzah, it's a similar idea. Evidently, there is a type of dough they used to make which they wouldn't bake. Just mix it together with water or honey, and therefore Rabbi Yossi b'shem Rabbi Yosef that's only if you baked it in an oven. If you ate it without baking, it is potter. So chalostor kikei nazir shason la'atzman potter. Chalostor kikei nazir, which you made for yourself, are potter. This is it was a quote for a mission, of course, but you made for yourself your potter, meaning you made it definitely for the purpose of using for the toad or for the nazir. Then it's not considered so sechem. Your dough, it's hekdesh and it's potter. Lim korba shuki. If you sell in the marketplace, then it's chayev. So the Gemara says, Lo b'dai totally explains the mission already. It's because it's not up to you to decide then whether it's going to be used for hekdesh or not going to be used for hekdesh. But that's the coolest davar totally. It has to do with the customers, and the shemim tzal kuchas v'nitpu miyad. Maybe you're going to find customers who are going to want to use them for their own purposes. And therefore, they are immediately tevo because they're considered to be ariso sechem. And it's kind of like a brera, the issue. I don't know if the first you speak about a brera, don't speak about brera, but evidently that in this case, it's kind of like kuvra dema freya, that it was never really meant to be definitively hektish. It's not really a brera issue. I'm just thinking out loud here because, by definition, you made it to sell it. Since you made it to sell it, so therefore there was a good, excellent contingency that is going to actually be used for that purpose. So it's not brera completely retroactively. It's really munach already. It's already licked. It's already intrinsic in the way you made it to begin with. Okay, halacha nachdem she'osas or lechalik chay b'chala, a baker who made a sourdough which has shir challah. Even though he's going to distribute it into small pieces in batches of dough, and it's not going to have shir challah, he's going to sell them to people that are going to use them to leaven their own dough at home. So he still has to it's chai b'challah. And here too, the Rash and the Rush explain because if he doesn't find people to distribute them, to make them use them in small batches, he'll use it in a large batch. A women who gave the dough to a baker to make it sourdough, even though he makes them if in one of the women's dough there's not the shir challah, it's why the challah, because here for sure he's going to redistribute it again to the women, so therefore there's no concern that he might keep it as one large batch. The article here is an important discussion which we should mention. It seems we know Sar is Chayiv Nechala, but the difficulty is why. sourdough. It's a starter. It's not suitable to eat in and of itself. So why is it chayim challah? So then those who say that if in fact it didn't have the shear of challah until it became before it fermented beyond normal edibility, it's not chayim challah. It's about it became it's about chayim challah when it was still suitable to eat, and that doesn't go away once it becomes fermented beyond edibility. Some sources like that, and those who say that Seor has a din of food for all matters, even though it's not suitable to eat as is, because it's made in order to use in other doughs, and therefore it's chayiv in challah. In any event, once it becomes a tevel for challah, at the time it's suitable to eat, the prohibition of being also without challah taking off doesn't fall off even if it becomes then fermented beyond edibility, because it's still edible in the sense that it can be used and will be used as part of other doughs. So it's interesting because obviously you're taking off the challah before you bake it. When you bake it, it might be already split up into small doughs, but at that point, since you made a large enough measure of sourdough in order to chayim challah, it becomes chayim challah regardless of the ability question. Again, whatever way you learn it, that's the way you have to learn our Mishnah, because otherwise the Mishnah makes no sense. Okay, this is that was Mishnah Zayin. There's a couple of Mishnah Ches. Is that also part of this Mishnah? Yeah. Mishnah Ches. You can only tell the difference between which one Mishnah you do if you look in the article. Isa Klavim, a dog's dough. So this is made of it's made out of a bunch of dough, flour and refuse from wheat. It's made from which you're going to use for dogs. I was going to explain it. But if it's like a dog biscuit, which a human being can eat from, so if a human being can eat from it, so then if human being will eat from it, the shepherd's eat it, you have to take off challah. Arvin ba, and it's edible, so you can use it to make an eruv. Mishtashvin ba, and make a shetufim avos with it. And you make a bracha on it, the hamotzi. You can make a zimun on it. V'naseh be yotif, it can be made on yotif. It's going to be ochel nefesh. And even made into matzah for Pesach. Ein ha-roin ochlino so mena, but if the shepherd is not from eating it, and a chayv is it's that repulsive. It's not chayv mechalav. Ve'im arvin bo, you can't use it for eruv. Ve'im mishtarfon, no use it for shituv. Ve'ein mevarchin alel, you can't make a bracha on it. Hamotzi, I think you presumably still make shahako, but not a motzi. Ve'im zalel, you can't build batch on it. Ve'ein as yontif, you can't make yontif because it's primarily for dogs. And we say nefesh meaning human being. The Bavli and Beit Daf Chafav also learns lachem veloli klavim. Ve'en adam yitzid bari dechav also pesach. A person can't be yitzid chiv matzah with it. Benkach b'tamei tumas. But even this form which is not eaten by shepherds is still b'tamei tumas oichlin b'shal because it can be eaten idei adchak. So therefore, until it's possible mechilas kelev, it's still suitable to kabel to masoichlin. Okay, so it's here. It says Gemara. It says hamamriach, but don't everybody change it to the obvious hamimareach. So you smooth the pile of your friend. So smoothing pile is when the chiyuv chumas to becomes set, and you cannot snack anymore and take off meiser. So somebody came along and did miruach. He smoothed the pile of his friend shlomidaito. Rabbi Yochanan Shimon Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan Mar Nitba. Rabbi Yochanan says become tevel. It's a fact. Became on the way miruach. Shimon Lakish Lo Nitba. Shimon Lakish says no, it's not tevel because it wasn't done by his with the consent of the owner. He still could snack. So Mesiv, the Rashi or Zerua, the Rashi, the Gra all changes to Mesiv Shimon Lakish Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan, Shimon Lakish Rabbi Yochanan. But then we learn in our Mishnah, Chein Nashiv Shenat Nasla Nachto. Last name Seor, women who gave a baker to make them Seor, Im ein b'shel achas men kashir betura min achala. If one of them does not have a shear in her, the dough that she in, and it's not chayav mechala. So ein b'shel kol mashir. So what? Don't you have a share of all of them together? And if you can rare keresh shlomi become chayav, so why can he make an isa shlomi das of his customers and become chayav v'chala? Rabbi Yochanan. Amarle, so said Shani, it's different. Because he's making the dough. It's a reversible process. He's making the dough in order to break it up again. So the suppose it's going to be reversed, and the Isa because it makes the dough in order to break it up. But take when it's still dough. Betur minachal is part of mechala. So the as opposed to here where the murach takes place, it's not reversible. The Baba is also going to keep him murach. He needs him murach, so therefore it's not a comparable procedure. So Reish Lakish asks further. A baker who makes a dough in order to distribute it is chayav b'chala. So Reish Lakish says, Rabbi Yochanan, how can you tell me that it has to do with the intent of the baker? Didn't we learn that if a nachto makes or even though he makes it in the chalik, he's still chayav mechala? So what does that have to do with how's the baker's intent factor in here? So Rabbi Yochanan said to Shimon Lakish, "Al tishivein, lo tishivein nachtom." I'm not asking you a question about nachtom. It's very similar to the last Mishnah. The chalos tada nazir. Nachtom lo b'daito davatoli. The nachtom is not up to him. He doesn't determine anything. But that's the kuchas davatoli. It has to do with whether he finds lukuchos or doesn't find lukuchos. Shema yimtza lukuchos. It says here Shema yimtza lukuchos. It really is like probably should say Shema yimtza lakuach. If I one large customer. Okay, Shema yimtza lakuach. Because lukuchos I guess means here large customers. So he's going to make it one dough, not a manas l'chalik. So really, his das is not what determines anything because he ultimately does for the customers. So we have a lot of customers to begin with, and we know that ahead of time. So then, of course, that's it's a reversible process, like Rabbi Yochanan said before. But it also works the other way, where we don't have any customers yet. He's chayav mechala either because he might be mechalik it like his individual intent, but he might not because it depends all what the demand of the customers would be. Okay, so next question. Omar Lei, so Reish Lakish said, "Chorei l'molim shalonu b'tzad harema chayeves harei l'chayomim." If you find this is a Mishnah Ma'aser Berakei Mishnah Zayin, you find ant hills next to a pile of pile of grain, which is chayv and meiser. So you're not allowed to eat from where you find the ant holes until you take a meisers. So the assumption is habetzad arema peturin. But if it's next to a pile of grain which is still putter, such as where the grain is still mixing together with the straw, it's putter. So according to you, Rabbi Yochanan, why don't we say that the Gemara Malacha was made by the ants? Because the ants separated the wheat from the chaff. They only take the kernels. So why is it putter? Rabbi Yochanan said, Omar, it says here low, but the Rashi will change it to one. Omar Rabbi Yochanan mishum yeush. No, it's part of the Meister because the Bailim give a pope from whatever the ants took, so therefore it remains potter. There's no. It's not. It's not that the ants were doing it as agents of the owner. He gave up hope of getting back whatever's taken in the anthills. So therefore, it was that miruach, so to speak, by the ants was done b'tur. Of course, when they took it from a pile which is already finished in chayiv, then that chiyuv remains. So again, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Avo Shem Yochem B'Shem Yehush. Shmuel Bar Abba Amar V'Hein Shegodlo B'Shibolim. This is the Gororo B'Shibolim. And of course, then it's another answer that we're talking about here, where they drag the kernels together with the grain, together with chaff, with the straw. So therefore, they became chai because the ants never did miruach. Okay, so this goes on, but I think we got to test Vav Aleph, and we'll stop here for today.